we do want to indicate to you that most of the payments which were supposed to be made, the access channels used by beneficiaries with SAPO and post office accounts, payments on the whole were largely successful despite some challenges in some areas. The total grant amounts for social grants beneficiaries is approximately 10.2 billion. Beneficiaries access these funds mainly through the national payment system, including the ATMs and all that you saw yesterday. The numbers of transactions by beneficiaries using SAPO card stood at 4 million, and a total value of the transaction withdrawal purchases was 3.8 billion by 17 hours yesterday. Payments of beneficiaries using commercial banks. In addition to the 3.8 million beneficiaries who accessed their monies using SAPO card, there were 3.2 million beneficiaries whose grants were debited into their commercial accounts. Here is what I think we need to look into in the future to say, what is it that we can do to avoid the queues in general, because now the queues are like this because of the current situation. But I think moving forward, here is an opportunity for us to look for better ways and improving our systems, because I personally believe that giving dignity to people is about ensuring that they easily access the benefits, I mean the social grant in general, but also make it easy for them. At the moment, it's still a stress and strain for our people, and I think at this point we are already having discussions with SAPO, with SASA, to say, can we look for different ways of doing it, because doing this today, it is corona, tomorrow it might be something else, and it might find us not with good systems that are easily accessible.
Inevitably, colleagues, there will be challenges and the need to take remedial action. This is the case in relation to the leave arrangements. As the Department of Employment and Labor, we are receiving concerns from workers and unions that some employers are seeking to shift the burden of the lockdown onto the workers, using their annual leave as the first line of response to the lockdown. We are also getting complaints from workers that their employers have instructed them to take unpaid leave during the lockdown. We do understand that in terms of the leave determination, employers can negotiate with employees to take leave at any time as they deem fit. However, this is a unique situation which requires that all of us to act in a manner that promotes social solidarity. As the department, we have issued a directive explaining the process to be followed and the kind of benefits employees will be entitled to under the employment or the unemployment insurance fund. We have also announced a national disaster COVID-19 benefit that the UIF has put in place as an instrument to mitigate the effects of the layoffs of workers during the lockdown. It is important, though, that all parties understand that the UIF cannot deal with the millions of the individual claims which would just come at the same period. This would lead to delays in the processing of such claims. Rather, we've put in place systems to pay out UIF benefits through the companies, sectoral associations, and bargaining councils, including but not limited to the sectors like tourism, small business enterprise sectors. So we are trying to cover all the sectors. We are in the process of concluding such agreements. We would like to express Our sincere appreciation to the employers who have already demonstrated social responsibility and solidarity by not only paying the workers in full during this lockdown, but also by making themselves available to assist by acting as disbursing agents during this period. On labor inspections, the issue of the essential workers. Firstly, it appears that some employers who are not delivering essential services and goods are forcing their employees to work. Employers are either unaware or choose to ignore the provisions of the national disaster legislation and regulation, which only provide for essential services and production to continue at this time. In terms of Regulation 11G, this is a criminal offense and puts at risk not only these employees, but all who they are in contact with, and goes against the call for as many of us as possible to stay at home. Any employee who's not involved in a business delivering essential services and goods and who's forced to work is entitled to contact SAPS, the police, and report their employer. Any worker who does this and is subsequently victimized will be protected by the Labor Relations Act, since this will be an unfair labor practice. It's a matter which we will be able to follow it up.
This Friday, SEFA will approve the rescheduling of the loan repayments for 6 months to the value of 359 million rands for at least 206 clients of SEFA. They continue to work to assist other clients who will qualify for the rescheduling. On Monday, the 30th of March, the President announced that we are working on support packages for businesses in informal sector. We have finalized the details of a dedicated spaza shop support scheme, and I'll talk to it later. And the date of the opening of applications for the spaza shop support scheme will be announced on the Thursday, the 2nd of April. We are also finalizing the support packages for other fields of the informal sector, including hawkers and certain categories of self-employed who belong in the informal business sector. And this we should be able to announce by Thursday, the 2nd of April. In terms of the dedicated spaza shop support scheme, we've got 5 types of support that we are giving. We're giving the opportunity for networking or purchasing power or bulk buying. And we are coordinating that bulk buying through the pre-selected or selected wholesalers. And they have to buy on a pre-approved basket of goods. And that basket of goods will include some of the produce made by SMMEs that the department and its agencies are supporting, and those other SMMEs who have the certification for their products.
As far as international and domestic passenger flight, as well as evacuation, repatriation, and technical flights are concerned, the transport directives are as follows. All international and domestic passenger flights are still prohibited, irrespective of the risk category of the country of origin, except those flights especially authorized by the Ministry of Transport for the evacuation of South African nationals in foreign countries. With regard to the repatriations of foreign nationals from South Africa back to their respective countries is allowed, provided the following conditions are adhered to. 1, foreign countries must charter their aircraft to South Africa without passengers except with the crew. 2, the crew is not allowed to disembark. Evacuations are as follows. The evacuation of South African citizens who desire to come back home is allowed, provided 1, he or she has a fully paid return flight ticket. 2, on arrival, They will be subjected to mandatory quarantine for a period of up to 21 days. And 3, the crew shall be allowed to disembark subject to mandatory quarantine laws as may be applicable.
The repatriation we are referring to would be of citizens of South Africa, so South African nationals, but of course it would also include members of international organizations who work in South Africa, holders of permanent residence permits who have a right to be domiciled in South Africa. These would form part of the grouping that we would have to give attention to. The most recent data that we have available to us suggests that we may have around 1,471 South Africans stranded in various ways in difficult circumstances in different countries across the world. Of this number, 723 are students, 204 are persons who work or are employed in countries overseas, 224 are tourists, and there are 320 who haven't told us what status they have, but they indicate they wish to return. I'm not sure that we've fully gathered all the data as yet, because these are persons who've approached our missions and whose data we have recorded. We believe there may be many more people in need of assistance who we are not as yet aware of, and I'm sure in the next day or so we will have many more on our database. In order to make it easier for people to contact us, those who are abroad and who need help, we've established a 24-hour command center at the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. The command center contact details are as follows. Telephone numbers, +27 12 351 1754. The second one, +27 12 351 1756. Our email contact details of the command center are cicc1@derco.gov.za and cicc2@derco.gov.za.
For more, go to ewn.co.za.